As B2B marketers, we're in such an interesting time of evolution thanks to generative AI. One of the things that's changing is people's search behaviour and therefore how we build brand awareness. So keep listening for more on how we can help AI recognise our brands and with a little help from content repurposing. You're listening to the Content 10x podcast, where it's all about content repurposing. I'm Amy Woods and I'm here to help you maximise your content and find smart ways to get your message in front of more of the right people, whilst also saving time. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Content 10x podcast. I'm your host, Amy Woods, and today's episode is following on from my last episode of the Content 10x podcast, where I spoke to Christopher Penn. We had a fascinating conversation about generative AI and how people use it to search and find information these days, and of course what this means for content marketing and content strategy. This episode, I'm going to dig into some of the key insights because I think there was so much to unpack from that episode and a lot we should really be aware of and taking note of. I know that some people prefer to listen to these short solo episodes versus the longer guest interviews and vice versa, of course. So hopefully this will be really helpful. I'm going to cover why maybe your brand should be everywhere, tactical tips for building brand awareness with AI, and also how repurposing can help you with some of this. But before I get to the main content, just to mention, if you want content repurposing tips and guidance, industry updates, inspiring stories, and exclusive news delivered straight to your inbox every other week, then join thousands of marketers, business owners, and creators and become a Content 10x insider. Head to content10x.com/newsletter. Okay, back to the main content. As I mentioned, please check out episode 310, which was our last episode. That will be at content10x.com/310. I'll put the link in the show notes. The episode was called How to Win with Gen AI Search with Christopher Penn. Now, something that really interested me as I learn more about AI and how it plays a role in content strategy is that I've always said that with content, and specifically content repurposing, you don't have to be everywhere. I think that's often a big misconception with content repurposing, that the goal is to be everywhere. We actually have an episode 267, called Why Being Everywhere Isn't the Goal of Content Repurposing. And that's actually about how the goal is not to be everywhere, but instead it's all about knowing where your audience hang out and where you want to focus your time. Now, in our last episode, Christopher Penn argued quite the opposite, certainly if you want to win with Gen AI search. So he spoke about how generative AI tools are constantly ingesting data and the language models are learning from that data. So in a way, we should see our content as data that needs to be in as many places as possible, constantly feeding AI, so that we are known and referenced by it. He said you can't have too much content be everywhere that you can be, especially the platforms that we know for a fact the generative AI tools are feeding off. Now, he did also argue that whilst it's quantity that is really important here, quality is also important. So he said, those who are better at content marketing will do better in the Gen AI search world. Whoever has the most decent quality content out there will win. If you want to win, you have to create both high quality and high quantity content. Now that's pretty hard, isn't it? That is quite a big ask. Basically, focus on quality and quantity. Usually you can only really fully focus on one or the other. But thankfully, as I've been saying forever, repurposing content can really help you with this. Now, we do have to pay attention to all of this because it's not only the fact that many people go to the generative AI tools these days where previously they may have gone to a search engine, but also the search engines themselves use AI in order to deliver the snippets to us. So the answers to the questions that we ask, that we often see right at the top of our search results, those snippets, That's the search engine using its AI. So the search engines use AI to get information to people. People go to generative AI to get information as well. This is all really, really important. So it's important that these AI tools know who we are and that we are referenced when people ask questions and we would like to feature in that answer. So here are 9 strategic and tactical tips for building brand awareness and mindshare with the bots, with the AI tools. So number 1, create long-form content. So this is high-quality content on a consistent basis and ensure that it exists in text format. So I'm talking blog posts, articles, ensure your videos and podcasts have transcripts. This is really important. So this is repurposing. The heart of a repurposing strategy is consistent long-form content. So make sure you focus on that. But then make sure that if the content is not written to begin with, that you repurpose it into that text format. Number 2, publish your videos onto YouTube. So whether you are growing a channel or not, don't miss the opportunity to be on YouTube because the videos all get transcribed to text, and it's a known fact that YouTube data feeds into many of the generative AI tools. So when it comes to repurposing, make sure that you repurpose videos to YouTube, get them on YouTube. This especially goes for video podcasts, and it's not just good for getting noticed by Gen AI tools, but also recent research by Cumulus Media and Signal Hill found that YouTube is the most used podcast platform for US audiences as well. So people go to YouTube to check out your podcast anyway. So get your videos on YouTube, whether it's a video podcast or other forms of video content, get them on YouTube. Now, number 3, always take the opportunity to mention your brand name. Even in your own content on your site, have a standard text in your blog posts mentioning your brand. So who you are and what you do, what you want to be known for. Ensure you do this with all content on other sites too. So articles on sites like Medium or LinkedIn, industry sites that you contribute to, they need to clearly have a mention of your brand and what you want to be recognised for what you do. Number 4, so what I just said goes for all forms of content too. So not just that written content, the blog posts and articles, etc. Mention your brand in your videos and your podcast episodes too. It might sound obvious, but maybe you don't do this as much as you would think. And this all gets transcribed to text and then ingested by the AI language models. Number 5, if you have the chance to collaborate with others and guest on podcasts and video shows and webinars and things like that, make sure that you mention your brand and what you do. See it all as an opportunity to get more data into the world from new sources. Also, when you do collaborate on other people's content, see if you can get hold of the content itself and see if you can share that as well on your platform. The more content, the better. So work with it and repurpose it if you are allowed to. And number 6 is to say yes as much as possible when it comes to guesting on other people's content. So when you are asked to appear on someone's YouTube channel or their webinar or their virtual event or their podcast, whatever it may be, say yes. And also know that generative AI does not care about domain authority, not in the same way as when we are thinking about traditional SEO and domain authority. So whether you're appearing on Forbes or whether, your friend's blog, it's still going to be great for generative AI and feeding that data engine. Number 7, many of the main generative AI tools, for example, ChatGPT, Query, Bing. So when we're trying to optimize our content for search, we should pay attention to Bing Webmaster Tools as much, if not more so, than Google Search Console. So if you do well at traditional search, you're going to do well with Gen AI search as well. So do not stop focusing on traditional SEO. You do well at traditional SEO, then you're going to do well at getting found by the generative AI tools. Number 8, brand is so important. Branded queries on search engines bypass AI. So keep getting your brand everywhere. Brand is everything. And lastly, 9, find ways to have direct access to your audience, ways that bypass AI. So for example, email newsletter, direct mail even, text messaging, a community. So, for example, a Discord community or a community on Slack. So find those ways to bypass AI, have that direct relationship and access to your audience. So there you have it. That's some of my thoughts and ideas, building on from the episode that we did with Christopher Penn. So very much taking a lot of what he said and just building a bit more to it, because I think we should be really paying attention to this. And it's all about how we want to be recognised by those generative AI tools and Gen AI search. I hope you found this really helpful. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, then please do let me know on any of our social channels. We're at Content 10x. Please do connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll find Amy Woods, founder of Content 10x, on LinkedIn. I'm sure I won't be too hard to find, so connect with me. Let me know what you thought about this episode and this topic generally. And if you would like help with your content repurposing, then it's important to know that we at Content 10x are a content repurposing specialist agency. We work with B2B organisations, helping them to get the maximum value from their content. Maybe you need us to fully end-to-end repurpose your content, working with you on a regular basis, or perhaps just helping you with a single piece of content with a virtual event or a webinar, a white paper, a report, you name it, we can help you. Or maybe you just need us to develop a plan for you. You don't need us to do the repurposing, but we can help you develop your repurposing plans. Or perhaps you just want to talk to us, get some expert support and an external sounding board. Whatever it may be, I'm sure we can help. So head to content10x.com to find out more, and we look forward to hearing from you. Okay, thank you so much. All that's left to say is thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.